What is a subtle sign that someone is really intelligent? They can ask really good questions at it. To anyone not understanding what mean, I'm talking about people who ask really good questions, not just any questions, really good ones. I don't know how one would achieve this skill, I know I have it. Edit 2, since this comment is getting a lot of attention, I'd like to say, don't forget to drink your Ovaltine. I worked with a lad who was very like this. He could make any conversation really intriguing and thought-provoking, often causing people to reconsider their perspective and position. He was an hour manager that could diffuse any situation, helping people mend bridges and resolving issues because he could get both parties to compromise and put aside resentment. He had IQ and EQ to go a lot further than the role he was in, but he was happy, and maybe that is another little bit of intelligence. That is wisdom. Wisdom and intelligence are two very different things, I have learned. That's amore. When they explain something, they make you feel intelligent. I like this one. They're probably pretty intelligent. Explaining something complex is simple terms. Knowledge is so vast that they can talk about in the easiest way for someone else to understand. People who use analogies to explain concepts to others. It's a form of code switching, and integrating concepts on the fly is a clear indicator someone is both socially and conceptually intelligent. Edit, as many have pointed out, not all analogies are helpful or make sense to others. So a useful analogy that creates an aha moment for someone is a wonderful thing. An analogy is an association, a mental process of connecting an idea or thing to a relatable image for someone who can then see and digest the initial representation. Not using analogies doesn't mean someone can't be intelligent. And social intelligence doesn't mean social ease and charisma, it means an awareness that one's own understanding and experience often has to be translated in ways that others can relate to. Jim, would you prefer a nature metaphor or sexual metaphor? Jim, oh, God, nature, please. When two animals are having sex, one of them. You know what you're going to want to hear: the sexual metaphor. Everything is sex. And all sex is competition. See, that wasn't so bad, was it? They spend time thinking before asking a question. Or answering one. Or replying to a comment. Or commenting on a reply to a comment. Some of the smartest people don't comment at all. Edit, thank you all for the upvotes and awards. I'm glad the comment resonated with so many of you. I can relate to a lot of these comment replies. I often spend several minutes typing a comment and then decide to delete it because it doesn't add anything to the conversation, or is not really funny or witty or thoughtful enough. Or I don't want to have to deal with the negative replies and edits in the morning after something sarcastic I wrote causes hurt feelings overnight while I'm sleeping. I wrote the comment thinking that I am no genius, but I can imagine there are tons of people on here with even smarter thoughts who happen to also have more self-restraint than me. They can genuinely consider an idea which opposes their worldview without necessarily accepting it. I've got a bone or two to pick with Aristotle, but I can vibe with his misquoted, "It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought and not accept it." Duck. That's the worst thing about my roommate. I try to have discussions with him and he just says things like that'd never happen and refuses to think about it beyond that. Dude doesn't understand the hypothetical realm. Frank, which one of us do you think will die first in a unicorn apocalypse? Well, that depends. Are these unicorns magical or are they just horses with horns for all intents and purposes? How many unicorns are there? Is it millions or is it one magical one just running train on the whole human population? We need parameters for this hypothetical. Would you rather shoot fireballs out of your hands or laser beams out of your eyes? Edit, okay, so I had to work but I just came back. I'll reply as best I can. It's my favorite question to ask, because it engages our imagination and gets some of us asking questions. And I've seen that when you ask your friends, you can almost guess which answer they'll choose based on their personality. It's a fun question, I'm just glad it sparked such a discussion. Like, uncontrollably? Like peeing, you can hold it in but sooner or later you have to go let it out. Sorry BRB, need to blast some fireballs in the parking lot. They can switch up the way they talk to match the person they're talking to without sounding condescending. They listen to how others learn and explain it in that person's language of understanding. They aren't afraid to say they don't know the answer to a question. They know when their knowledge ends and say something to the extent of "I don't know and anything else I say on this topic is ignorant speculation." Favorite line I got from a professor, that made me genuinely realize I can have my own thought, was, "That's a great question that I don't know but we need to talk about." Conveyed immediate interest, but kept her same professional knowledge base, which allowed me to explore my ideas with her. It really showed me what discourse is all about. Edit, thank you for silver. I really didn't anticipate this to have such an impact. I noticed a lot of people saying they had similar experiences with teachers. I encourage you all to reach out and share how grateful you are for those experiences. I also encourage you all to share your thoughts whether you find them original or not. This can be anonymously or not, but you truly won't learn until you and others actively question your belief system consistently. Find friends that support you and encourage these conversations. They admit to changing their mind about something. I'm not sure if this marks brilliance, but the inability to change your mind when presented with new evidence is absolutely ignorance. But it's so much easier to just assume the new information is BS and I was right all along. They effortlessly communicate complex concepts in a simple way. My father-in-law is very smart, went to MIT Caltech, founded and sold several businesses, published books that are still in circulation, holds several patents and now is working in the immunotherapy space. Anyway, I'm just a typical Midwestern state college grad, and the things I've learned about cancer and the various treatments from him are amazing. These are technical, medical, biological concepts that I could learn if I read 100 books. But he can somehow explain them in such a simple and relatable terms I feel like I really understand. It's a gift of genius. I think what's important is some people are deathly afraid of simplification, because there are always experts that will tell you you're wrong. But simplification is incredibly important in explaining concepts to people. You build rules that are applicable 75% of the time, then you teach the exceptions. So many people out there start with the exceptions first and it's so clear they've never had to formally instruct anyone in anything. Speaking as someone that gets roped in to explain every board game to others, even the ones I haven't played. They can follow the plot of Kingdom Hearts without needing any line graphs or charts. Till, no one is intelligent. Massive alien forehead. Does receding hairline count? Yeah, mate. Forehead flashing. They are curious about everything. To be intelligent you need to be knowledgeable, and you can't be knowledgeable if you are never curious. You can memorize a bunch of random facts and repeat them, that's knowledge. But knowing what to do with that knowledge, how to apply it, how to make sense of it, is what I think real intelligence is. Richard Feynman captured that mindset perfectly in his book. I'm dumb as hell in that case. I'm curious about just about everything. I will spend weeks studying a newfound topic of interest. Then I might move on to something else while retaining interest in everything I had researched prior. While retaining interest, I might only retain half of the stuff I had learned and could explain less than that if someone asked about the topic. And I will have done nothing with any particular interest of mine outside of somewhat satisfying my curiosity. Writing this out confirms the ADHD diagnosis a little more in my mind. Don't be too hard on yourself. As someone else with ADHD, I know that feeling of going down the rabbit hole on something that's new and novel, but doesn't have anything to do with my regular interests. To quote Ordinary Painter 1428 elsewhere in this thread, by having enough knowledge and experience across different domains such that they can see similarities, differences, and spot missing information that is worth asking a question about. It's impossible to quantify, but you never know when you'll find yourself in a situation that sparks a thought. This reminds me of that random thing I read on Wikipedia that one time, maybe it's applicable here? You mentioned only retaining half the stuff you learned, that's 100% more than learning nothing at all. Satisfying curiosity isn't a negative thing, you shouldn't feel bad if you find something interesting that doesn't have a specific purpose or end goal. Things are interesting. It's impossible to quantify, but you never know when you'll find yourself in a situation that sparks a thought. This reminds me of that random thing I read on Wikipedia that one time, maybe it's applicable here? Recently got diagnosed with AD, and just yesterday one of my friends said something along the lines of, "Man, you always have knowledge about oddly specific things because what you mention happens a lot in our conversations, haha."